Okay, head over to the next slide. Thank you much. All right, so part one was about outcomes here. So the external communication was what we did in the first training that we had for communication, talking to people outside of the school program. And part two is mostly going to be focused on internal communication, how to effectively communicate with staff at the schools. And a few things that we're hoping that you guys are able to take away from this is, being able to identify leverage points for engagement in your schools, feel confident in navigating coaching conversations with instructors for 21st century programs, and then build some concrete strategies for instructor coordination and administration relationship building. All right, so today, I do want to start off with a little bit of a check-in, see how everybody's doing. It's going to be pretty interactive today, so we're going to cover some topics for communications for 21st century. There'll be a bit of a 5-minute break so everybody can get a stretch in, so you don't get too bored of my monotone voice. Then there'll be a workshop. It's a short group project for everybody to take part in. And then at the end, we'll do some review and reflection on everything that we covered with you guys today, okay? Right. So, with us rounding the corner of the pandemic, I know I get excited because I'm a huge movie buff. And I like that I'm finally able to get back out and go to the cinema and see some movies. So I was just curious, what are you guys excited for? If you've already seen some movies, what are some of your favorites? I know a lot of stuff drops on streaming as well at the same time. So if you haven't gotten a chance to go to the movies, what are some of the things that you guys have either seen already or been excited about so far? Zola. What's Zola?
It's a movie about this. It's basically a movie from a series of tweets. It involves like people work like in sex work and then like crime and stuff.
Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing The Green Knight this Friday. Patel's in it, and I like him as an actor, and I'm really excited to see kind of our theory and take it. It looks real crazy, so I'm pretty excited to see that. Adult, I have a 3-year-old, so adult movies no longer exist. That was a pretty good one. Candyman, a lot of good ones out there. What about you, Mike?
New Candyman, is it a remake of the old Candyman, or is it an extended story?
Sequel.
So it might be kind of crazy, which I'm looking forward to. I hope it's not crazy.
The original was set in Cabrini Green that no longer exists here in Chicago.
Like, how do you outdo the Chicago Candyman? Like, can it be done? Yeah. We'll see.
You got Jordan Peele on it. I think it's got a shot.
It was just counting down to Monday. No movie in the near future to I saw Black Widow, and it was pretty entertaining.
Loved it. We had a great time. Rewatching the Twilight series.
I've been seeing a lot of like the way that series has floated to the top of the Netflix watch list is kind of what is happening. Is this like some kind of inside joke I didn't catch on to?
I think everyone's just realizing how cringy it is and how horrible the storyline is.
Guilty as well.
I think people are just going to look back at it and take a laugh at it,
Oh my goodness. Oh, I love Lupin. It's a great show.
The main actor in that, and before I continue here, he is a French actor that did an amazing movie where he's a caretaker for a very rich person. So if you have not seen that movie, watch it. It's in French, but it is some of the best acting I've ever seen. He should have won an award, but he did not. And I cannot remember the name of the movie off the top of my head right now, but it's fantastic. See that one for sure. So the other thing that I want to hear from you guys today really is just how's everybody doing? You know, do you guys have any hangups from the sites? There's some successes that you want to cover with us or kind of fill the group in on. Please feel free to shout some out. Maybe some people I haven't heard from today yet. What are some of your hangups or successes or both?
We are gonna have, our students are making their first podcast this summer, and we've been recording on Google Meet, so it's kind of weird, but that's what works. And it's about anime, and I've finally gotten all of the anime nerds together to, you know, meet each other and interact with each other instead of watching by themselves at home. And they have so much to say, and it's really, 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 it's really wonderful for them to have peers to talk to. And they don't really know each other that well, but they recorded episode 2 today, and we're hoping that by the end of the summer, there's at least 3 episodes, and that we can continue this program into the fall, and they can continue recording episodes and hopefully go on different they're talking about, I don't know if anyone watches anime. I only watch this because they told me to Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, yes.
Yeah, they've been really
It's
into
amazing.
it. And
amazing.
there's a movie, and so when we get back to in-person school, they want to do a movie showing at the school, you know, spread out, but still. So I think it's been all led by them. They want to do it. I think it's great. There's been some coworkers' kids who are at the school and who are younger. They're like in grade school, and they're hearing it, and they're like, "Oh, I want to be on the podcast too." So that's
nice.
It's really cool to generate that community.
I'd like to listen to it. So if you could drop a link for it or email.
Yeah, when there's some editing to do because they don't, you know, they don't understand that when it's recording, and now you can't, like, you know, respond to the chat because people don't see the chat, you know, in the podcast. So we're teaching, there are also things to teach. So we'll definitely share. We want it to be a full-on podcast where we upload it to all the podcasts platforms so anyone can listen to it. But once we get that out and you listen to it, make sure you comment.
I will, for sure. My wife and I are huge anime fans, so much so to the point we actually edited a wedding scene in an anime into black and white and had it playing at our wedding. So it means a lot to us.
Well, maybe you can be a guest because they're so down to talk to anyone about everything, and they've been very gracious for us who haven't watched anything. And they'll be like, "Okay, everyone watch episode 1," and then we'll come and talk. And they're like, "So what did you think?" And it's been so good. And who knew? I had no idea.
I could give them a few topics to do for a few anime or for some podcast episodes. It'd be fun. Love
that. And they want to do, sorry, I'm going to continue going because it's so great. They want to take the food from their favorite anime shows, and they want to try to learn how to cook it or order it. Like, we're gonna get ramen at some point because none of them have had ramen, like real ramen in person, you know, real life. And so ramen
is a favorite for sure. My buddy. Nice. Anybody else, any hang-ups, any questions that you guys have?
We're having a big event coming on Tuesday here with a handful of our clubs, our cosmetology club, our jewelry club, and our sports club and photography club. We'll all be attending on Tuesday. We have like a big community give back event from 1 to 5 p.m. So that'll be super exciting. We've been trying to canvass the neighborhood and, you know, letting everybody know about the event. So I'm excited to see what the turnout will be.
Nice. Some of these too, if you guys have some pictures and stuff from them, make sure you upload those artifacts to the folder sites. We can use those to the school sites folder, sorry, so that we could use those as well.
I have a ton of pictures. I'm going to send them to you, Karina. You can show me how to upload them or whatever, because they get them to our phone. We got a lot going on. So I got a ton of pictures.
I would love that. We'll set up a meeting.
Thank you. All right, you can head over to the next one. Appreciate the contributions, guys. All right, so like I said, the first part that we had, why is my screen frozen? Give me 1 second here. All right, back. And for the meat of the training today, you know, communication is going to be super important for the success of the 21st century programming. Site coordinators should essentially have consistent communication with instructors because this creates an environment where they're comfortable and, most importantly, consistent in coming to you with any possible changes that you may come across. For example, if an instructor or staff person is going to be out during the day, they will be able to inform you, let you know they're going to be gone, or if there's a field trip coming up and students are outside of the building. Another thing that can come from this communication is teachers letting you know if there's participants whose attendance is slipping or if they've disappeared from the program completely. They can fill you in on this ahead of time so you can start to reach out to students if their attendance is slipping and kind of be proactive to it, and instead of more reactive to situations that come up. This is something that you could put together during a regular scheduled staff meeting, and we'll talk a little bit about those a little bit later. But creating this rapport will also give you the opportunity to speak to staff about other matters that come up, such as the sign-in sheets. You know, that once we get back into in-person programming, this is something that will need to be done physically. They won't be able to just do you know, a CitySpan check-in where they just click signed in or anything like that. They may actually have to physically sign it. Something else to consider, it is important to be able to describe and advocate for your program for different stakeholders in the school. So you need to know who these important people are and how to discuss what their decisions are and how they affect their programs. So for you guys out there, can you give me one or two examples of some stakeholders at your schools?
Parents.
Okay, I can't see the chat at the moment, so if somebody sees the chat, if they could read them out to me, I'd really appreciate it.
I'll read them out if I see them.
Thank you much. Got parents as big stakeholders.
Teachers as well.
There we go.
Siva said students.
Oh, and deans.
Yes, exactly. And you know, the importance of this is that you got to make sure that if they have an influence on changes or things that come up within the programs, that you know how to be able to communicate with them. But then also, if you yourself see a change or want to be able to make a suggestion, you can make it to them in order for them to help with their decisions with everybody else that's considered a stakeholder in the school. So if a teacher has a good rapport with a dean and you are good in with them and you guys come up with an idea, having that ally is a good way to start pitching ideas and things towards the dean, who's going to be the ultimate decision maker at the end of the day. So forming allies helps out a lot, so to speak. It's important to coordinate with your staff. You know, you guys may have rooms that are shared for different programs. So you may need to schedule things on different days. There may be changes in staff. Some people may leave. Some people may not be working on a specific day anymore. So the more consistent you are with speaking with staff that's at the school, the stakeholders, and the students, the teachers, parents, everybody, the easier it is for you to move forward without any hangups. With all these bullet points that we're covering right now, generally the idea or the mentality they have is to not just stay in your office. Got to be super involved with the school And the more people that you know around the building, the more that you understand the stakeholders and what their influence is and what their decisions are on the campus, the easier and more smoothly your program's going to run, right? Next slide. Internal communication is, of course, the theme of the day. Now, some of the components of effective in communications are, well, you got to have a concrete understanding of your school environment. It's important to know who you need to see to get things done, like we mentioned before, regarding those stakeholders. And then also to think about most effective ways to develop and build those relationships in your school. To get there, it's important to utilize some of the best practices and strategies for clear coordination with your staff members. Ways to do that would be developing a comprehensive calendar for your program. Share the deadlines with your staff. You can put them on that calendar. And if you send that out to people, kind of keep everybody on track. And then also make sure you create some tools for your own internal professional development. There are a lot of tools that you can use to help you get there. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about some of those strategies and tools to help you be effective in the things that we just covered, right? Make a questionnaire. Professional development questionnaire can be a great way to find out exactly what things people do want to develop and train on. Another good idea is to define an internal payroll timeline, just so that you can get the things done on time that you need to for payroll. Have regular meetings with your staff. Like we mentioned earlier, if there are some participants that do disappear from the program or an instructor needs you to follow up with somebody, regular staff meetings can be a good time to bring that in. You could even ask during the staff meetings if they can, whoever runs or starts the staff meeting, if they can put like maybe a time for you at the end just to cover some things that you want to go over. Okay. Also set some expectation with your school's administration. Share that defined timeline like we mentioned before, because this is going to be everything from the start of the program to the due dates that you have for surveys, parent engagement, student demographic, grade requests, time frame to getting back to you on information that you need, and just put it all on the calendar, share that with everybody so that they can see it. Like I said, with the communication portion of it, these tools are just to make sure that you keep everything in a flowing timeline so that you don't have to chase anybody down for any due dates that come up. You're kind of ready to move forward with everything as it goes. The other thing too is about being organized, right? The more organized you are, the easier it is for you to find everything and then turn it in, but it's also a good way for you to know if something's missing. So creating an organizational system for your site folder is super important. The easier it is to navigate, the more organized it is. It helps you out a lot with locating any documents that we may ask for, any parents may ask for, any students need, the teachers may need, but it also can help you, like I said, track your submissions. So if there's paperwork that needs to get done for a staff member, you could look in an organized folder and say, well, this person has all of these submitted, but they're missing this document and this document that I know that they need. So just by staying organized, it keep you kind of on track with everything you got to do as a site coordinator, because I know you guys got a lot to do. And the more organized you are, the easier it is to find out where you're at and keep track of where you are with everything you got to submit. There's a lot of examples of this, and we do want to talk to a couple people here to give some of their insights on some tools or the ways that they communicate with their staff to be more consistent and effective in their school site. So on the next slide, I'm going to call on a few of you guys, okay? First, we're going to start out with Sadiqa. I know I talked to you a little bit over the phone, and I thank you for being comfortable for sharing with us. So we did want to hear from you a little bit.
Oh, no problem. So, hey, everybody. So some ways that I began to establish relationships with being new at CCA. I came on in March, at the beginning of March. So my role here is new, just like some of you all. And when I initially came on, I was upfront with admin and I asked them, you know, if there was opportunities where I could speak to the staff as a whole. I was present in the school, but many of the teachers were still at home and they were remote. So a lot of those meetings were being run virtually. So that was actually perfect. So I would come into the Friday professional development. I remember the first one that I came into, I was given the floor and I was able to introduce myself, and I was able to introduce the 21st Century Program and just, you know, what I wanted to do, how I fit into the culture, how I felt that, you know, teachers could be a part of the program, and, you know, they were very supportive and they wanted to be a part of the program. So that for me, it was upfront, like saying that this is what I need. But I mean, if you don't know that, then how can you do that? But, you know, just being upfront, like I want to get to know the staff. Nobody's here. So this is one way that I can do it. So once the teachers and the other staff are back in the building, it was easier to build those relationships. Just seeing people in the hallway, having casual conversations, coming in the morning, you know, and being sociable. Sometimes you just want to come in and go straight to your office. So I didn't do that. I stayed in the hallway and I mingled, you know, and I got a chance to you know the staff in the building. And, you know, I would just casually ask them, like, are you interested in leading some math tutoring after school? I heard that you're good at chess. Would you be interested in doing chess club with some of the students? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. They were like, we get paid. I'm like, yeah, this is paid. It was like, oh yeah, sign me up. So that's one way, right? I'm like, yeah, you get paid. You think you're gonna do it for free? So they were like really excited, and that's how I got to know the staff here at my school. So that worked pretty well for me. I would say becoming integrated into CCA's culture.
Nice. I liked hearing that you kind of listen to the instructors and their interests and things that they like to do, and kind of building from there, saying, oh, you play chess. Would you be interested in doing a chess club? That's pretty cool. But that's one of the reasons why we say that internal communication is important. You know, if you weren't as connected and putting yourself out there to get to know everybody, that development wouldn't happen. Another person I talked to was Willie. They had shared with me that relationship building has been a strong suit that we noticed with them as well. So we wanted to hear from them as well. So Willie, if you could share with us a little bit of your insight.
Hey, yeah, sorry, just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. My internet has been cutting in and out, so okay, cool. So yeah, I guess I want to start by saying when I first started at Association House, I definitely felt like super elated, I think, working here, in particular because the position that I took on was an AmeriCorps position, and it had a pretty high turnover. I think one, just AmeriCorps positions frequently do, and two, they're not particularly very well paying, and they're pretty high stress. And so I think that there was a general hesitancy to kind of like commit to a new person for a lot of the staff. And I think that the very best way that I built relationships here was just by like being dedicated to this place and making it really clear that I cared about the community that was here, and I cared about the students. I think that goes a really long way with most folks who work at alternative high schools. Yeah, definitely. And I would say, as far as like navigating shifting roles in the school is concerned, I think that one of the things that's been almost kind of funny is, so yesterday, one of the SPED teachers who teaches our fitness club came into my office and was like, my boss, Willie. And I was like, no. Like, you hold so much more knowledge than I do. And I think just to be honest, like, and maybe this doesn't work in every situation, but I think for me, being extremely informal about, management has been a strong suit. And I mean that in that, like, I think people are a lot more willing to communicate with me as a coworker when they understand, like, I'm interested in, like, looking at what our goals are and then figuring out, like, how we can fill in the gaps to get things done. So, like, with our music studio, for example, right, like, whether there were issues with, like, getting it up and running in the first place, or like if our instructor has to take a day because he's sick or something like that. The main thing is just like making sure that we're communicating effectively so that the kids get to have a music studio. And that's like our deep driving force behind everything that we're doing. So I think just like when there are shifting roles, just understanding like what is the underlying thing that is driving both of us to show up here, and make something for the kids, so that they can learn a new skill or whatever. So I would say those have been kind of my main strategies. The other thing I would say is just knowing like who around the school is good at doing which different things. And I know that's kind of what we're talking about later today, but and I don't want to take up way too much time, but
Good.
but so like, for example, Miss Pear and Miss Thomas are two amazing SPED teachers at Association House, and they are incredible at recruiting students. It's borderline harassment. They are like, you're doing, like they're friends with your parents. They want to know where you are. They want to know, you know what I mean? Like they are, they get kids in the building. And so like putting them like in a position where they're doing the vast majority of the recruitment for their club has been a huge weight lifted and allowed me to focus my recruitment efforts in other places. So I think just like understanding what people's skill sets are has been really important in terms of like managing the clubs, because there are some clubs that like I have to do all the recruiting for, and other ones where I don't have to do any recruiting. And similarly with other tasks too, like when it comes to like, you know, making sure that attendance gets taken, like totally. There are certain clubs that I got to be really on the instructors, and others that I don't really have to do very much at all. So yeah, just recognizing what people's different like skills are and where their brains go has been a huge help for me.
Nice. I mean, what you said there is such a key point of the training today, is learning about your staff, what their strong suits are, how they contribute to the overall success of the programs. And you know, that's the main message that we really do want to get across today, is that the more you reach out, the more you understand the staff that you have, the people that you work with, what, you know, intellectual resource that they can be for all the different aspects that you have to do in your job, the easier it is for you to do your job. And like you said, be able to manage all the clubs and the different activities that go on. If you know that somebody is really good at one thing, then you can take less of your own focus off of that and then work on something else where the majority of them may not be so strong in, so that you have a team reaching towards a final goal. So that's amazing to hear. And thank you for sharing with us. I appreciate it a lot. Now, Juan unfortunately could not make it today, but we did get Juan to record something for us. So we're going to play a quick clip of that just to share with you guys a little bit. So just give us 1 second while we share that with you, okay?
Yeah, while I set that up real quick, I see a lot of you kind of like nodding your heads. It seems like this is like really relatable stuff. And obviously, you know, everybody has really helpful tips and tricks that they've learned already from, you know, even for our news sites, for just being in 21st Century for a brief half a year. That, you know, hopefully beyond just this PD, this is something that you guys can connect on and kind of continue the conversation offline, I guess, probably still online because of COVID, but, you know, offline. So yeah. Okay. Can everyone see this silly stopped point? So we're gonna play about half, just for the sake of time. Hopefully I can share the sound as well.
Well, you're working on the sound.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Flipgrid is a great tool. If you still are doing anything remote in the coming year, it's a really fun way to interact. You can have students send videos to you rather than writing an essay. They can talk about a subject. They could read a poem on here, and it's free tool and it's simple to use. So I just want
It's
to.
really cool. You took the words right out my mouth, Mike. It's maybe we'll have one of our PDs use a Flipgrid as pre-work or something. Everyone's like, no, why? All right. I'll try to zoom out actually.
Hello, everybody. This is Juan Jones, site coordinator for Excel Academy South Shore, and just wanted to take a brief second to just discuss some of the things that we've been doing here in regards to effective communication and things that's worked for us. I feel like one of the biggest things that's been working thus far is I've been having 2 flash meetings a week with some of my team members in regards to just touching base with them, see what's been working, what are some of the things we can improve on, if they've implemented anything new, if there's anything that I can do to help assist. Yeah, just trying my best to just be as, to be able to assist as much as possible. So those flash meetings have definitely been working. And I try to work as much around people's schedule as possible. Obviously, with the pandemic and things being crazy and people's schedules being everywhere, to just try to, hey, a quick 2-3 minute phone call. Hey, what's going on? How's this week going? Especially with attendance. And even with some of my staff members who have had some of the higher attending groups, what have they been doing? Have they have any other incentives or whatever the case may be? What have they been doing? So I try to use those flash meetings to communicate as much as possible, rather than just, kind of running into people when you do. The flash meetings have worked wonders for me. When it comes to scheduling, as a team, we pretty much just strategize what groups will work best on what days, based off of our highest attendance days. So typically for us, when we looked at everything, Tuesdays and Thursdays were our highest attendance days. So I tried my best to schedule our enrichment programs around those days. Obviously, a lot of our students, especially with dealing with the pandemic, fell off attendance wise. So we kind of looked at the numbers and saw that on Tuesdays and Thursdays were our highest attendance days. So those are the days where we would have our enrichment, where obviously would help students more academically. And then in regards to like our fitness groups and different things, we had on the off days, the Mondays and Wednesdays, and we didn't have any programming on Fridays. So, and also I allow staff to pick which days work best for them, rather than me just kind of giving them days and saying, hey, you need to work on this day, and not necessarily taking into account people's schedules, lives, and everything, and the way everyone was affected with the pandemic. So I allow people to pretty much pick which days they wanted to work, knowing that I was going to have the enrichment days on our highest attendance days. So I kind of just allow people to fill in the spaces that they wanted based around those days, with the core of our program trying to, be built around those enrichment, especially knowing that students had some difficulties attending school and different things of that nature.
So I'm going to stop it there. I just wanted to kind of reiterate, I think Juan had a really great use of really implementing real-time data, so to speak. And I thought it was a great example of not only keeping communication regular with staff, his own staff, but looking at what successful programs are doing currently, communicating with them on what the successes look like, and then implementing them on future programs. So I thought that that was a really good addition. So I'm gonna reshare the PowerPoint now.
Yeah. I'm going to thank Juan again when I talked to him for shooting that video for us. That's
He gave us a lot of material. He gave us an extra 3 minutes too. So
exactly.
you guys can all reach out to him independently if you want to hear the rest of those 3 minutes. So
What we could do, do you have the link for that, Karina, if you wanted to share it, if they want to hear the rest of it?
yeah, I can include it in the follow-up email with the recording and everything. So
Awesome, yes. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. I am going to refill my green tea and then
I think everybody's back mostly.
yeah, looks
think so,
pretty
yeah.
full.
comments are saying everyone's back. So now that we are back from break, the big crux of today is we want to do a little bit more about resource mapping. And I want to talk to you guys exactly about what resource mapping is. I mean, it's basically something that could be referred to as asset mapping or environmental scanning, but it's best noted as a system of building, a building process used by many different groups, many different stages, in order to align resources and policies in relation to specific system of goals, strategies, and expected outcomes. Next slide. So what I want to do today is I want you guys to kind of take everything that we covered. I know it's a lot to chew on and digest, but we're going to try to bring it all together. Everything you heard today, break you guys out into groups, take some cues of some of that information that you heard from my ramblings and then also from the great information you got from your peers. And we're going to have you create a resource map on a Jamboard. Now on our next slide here is an example of that. And we want to have you guys discuss amongst yourself for the next bit of time to create one of these on your own. So what you see on the screen is an example. You're going to get a blank version of this with the dude in the middle. You can create more than 5 if you want. 5 is just the ideal goal that we're aiming for here, to talk about some of the people that are on your campus that either are decision makers or good resources to turn to for different things. Once you have those 5 people established or more, we then want you to put together a few notes about what resources they bring to the table or what resources they are good turning to. So considering everything that we talked about today, from scheduling to creating calendars to internal professional development, to how to follow up with students and staff, scheduling rooms, the whole 9. Think of all of the things that you heard about today and put them together as a group and try to figure out your own resource map. Now, I know you guys are not all going to be from the same school in each individual group, but it's a good way to contribute, to get you an opportunity to think about some things that you can then take back to your own site from working with your peers. Okay? So we're going to break you out into groups. I don't know how many are going to be in each group. I think, Karina, you got an idea on how many are going to be in each group? I don't know.
Yeah, we're hoping to have about 3 people in each breakout room. I'm going to put in the chat really quickly the Jamboard. We're going to be using Jamboard again. You are all familiar with it. There should be a template for each team to use. It's just that little icon there in the center as an example. Obviously you're doing a generic school, so we don't want to make it too prescriptive. It's think about what works for your schools and kind of make it work on a generic kind of mega school. And then hopefully this at least kind of gets your brains working for how you can kind of nuance it for your own site. Now here I go, trying to do multiple things. Chat. All right, I'm putting it in the Jamboard. If you're going to be in breakout room 1, for example, you're going to be on the team 1. So we put each page as a different team. If you're on breakout room 5, you're going to be on team 5. All right. Can everybody access the Jamboard?
No.
No? Who said no?
It's Kelsey. It said that I needed access.
Ah, okay. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute because I have too many things open, and I'm going to make
I need
sure
access as well.
Yeah, it seems like it just does. I think it's probably going to be the same for everybody then.
I can get that.
What'd you say, Mike?
I can share make the link. I'll make the link open. I can take care of that.
Okay, thank you. All right. So hopefully it should be the same link though.
I'm going to throw this link in here.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Does that one work for everyone?
The second link.
Yes, it works.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Shall I, Corey, break everyone out into
Go for it. Send them on their
I
way.
can't edit it. It just says view only.
the second link?
Mhm.
Hang on. Here it comes.
All right, third one's a charm.
Go with link 3.
Okay, now it's working.
I changed. Okay, it's working. Okay, good.
All righty, I'm gonna break everybody out. Corey and I'll be hopping around to kind of hang out, so you won't be alone. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, Karina, we could have had 5 more minutes.
Oh, I know it, but you know what? Let's all remember the last PD. I took everyone out way too early, so you know what? Baby steps. Baby steps. I'm learning.
Me and Kelsey E, we was on a roll.
I love it. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Our group was hitting it.
I
We
bet.
did.
It looked like a power team over there.
No,
Let's see.
to be honest with you, that's one of the biggest things when we do professional development is to not only, I kind of like to give the idea of the subject and then give you guys the opportunity to learn a lot from each other. You guys all have great contributions to give. And when it is collaborative like that, a lot more essentially gets learned and retained rather than just somebody like myself talking at you. So we try to come up with some good activities such as this, where it is collaborative, where you guys are all contributing as a group and learning little tidbits from each person. So,
And the triggers were good. Kelsey was on the money. Thank you. She just said stuff and it just
yeah, that's my team.
things. So yeah. Karina, I held it down for us.
Oh, I know. I know you did.
She did.
That's good. I'm
Absolutely.
gonna check in later. I'm gonna,
Ask Kelsey. She'll tell you.
She was on it, guys. She was on it.
Nice.
All right, I'll screen share the last little bit. Breakout rooms are never as long as we think they are.
Nope, it goes quick, man.
All righty. Do we have them up? Is it up?
It's up.
All
I
right.
can see it. So, I first of all want to say thanks for your participation. I got a chance to jump in on a group today, and hearing the amount of people that you guys work with to make everything run is impressive. Just to see how much you guys have to take on in order to do your jobs, take care of the work that you have and run the program. So I want to say thank you to all of you for the work that you do at the schools first and foremost. We can't do any of this without your guys' help and contributions. So we're very appreciative. The students are going to be appreciative of the things that they get a chance to learn from all of your hard work. So first, I did want to say thank you guys very much for everything you do. And then also we wanted to know, what did you learn from the other sites that you were in the group with that you might want to include at your own school? And what are some things that you heard from somebody else that you now might want to find out about some of the resources at your campus?
In our group, and Vanessa, please correct me because I might get it wrong. She talked about their club that brings in dogs, and is it for therapy? I was like, ooh, I love that.
Safe Humane group where students are working with dogs that have been like traumatized or like been in very toxic households. So just learning to train them and all that, so eventually they can be up for adoption.
Yes, I love it, and I'm probably gonna get like chewed out for even suggesting it, but I'm gonna suggest it because why not? Like, why not? So
Kadika, if you tell them that Corey and Mike and Karina said it was okay, they're gonna be like, okay. Michael Corey Karina said, the admin for ASC said, we can do this.
We can do this. Why not? I'm with you, Ava. I'm with you when you're right and you be right, okay?
Don't you guys have a mascot down there now, Vanessa?
Yes, he's Ruby. We have a 6-month golden lab. Well, Jennifer has a 6-month golden lab that's gonna, when she turns 1, she's gonna start going to train to be a therapy dog for our students.
Oh,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
did anybody have any like really creative or unique resources that they didn't think of?
Well, it was one that Kelsey actually thought of when we were talking, because it wasn't on the example thing. The attendance clerk. That is also one
There
of
you
our.
go. Yeah.
Because she just kept mentioning attendance, and I was like, we did put the registrar down as a resource, but having a relationship with the attendance clerk, but this is the gatekeeper of the attendance. And so just like you mentioned earlier, when Juan said something, the court was talking about attendance, following up for people who fall off or who have not been coming in, looking at the attendance record and just seeing a trend in absentees, that's what we can concate and locate like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I feel we add attendance as far as a resource, as one of our resources or one of our stakeholders.
Nice.
Deshawn and I talked a little bit about a program she wants to start, which is a GED program for parents. They have an instructor identified, they have all the resources, and so like the books and the computers. And something that we were thinking of is like, what do we need to do to get the parents in the door? And that's, you always want your parents your families to feel special. They've been selected. We're going to give you some branded backpacks and notebooks and whatever that's dedicated for this, and I think that stuff goes a long way when it comes to like marketing the school and promoting the school. Like even if it's just a tote bag that, you take to the grocery store. But we also talked a lot about the struggles of if you don't have those ties to, if it's the attendance clerk or your leadership or whoever is the gatekeeper of the data, it halts every other thing. And so we were strategizing a little bit about how Deshawn can get access to some of that. And really put together a regular system of retrieving this information that is expected, that you're not having to like harass people to get, that they know they have to get it. Because I know that not everybody has access to the things like I do. And I know that if I ask somebody for something, it's going to take 2 weeks for them to get it to me. And I'm going to have to ask them over and over and over and over. But if we can put these systems in place in the summertime, and maybe it takes Mike having that conversation with them, being like, yo, this is a federal grant, like we have to have this information, it's due, then that'll prioritize it, right? And I don't think anyone has any ill intent. I just think that we have a lot going on, right? So Deshawn, did I miss anything?
No, no, it's good.
So, thinking of that, I mean, it's a great segue to the second here is, based on what you learned today, what do you think are some new ways to effectively communicate to the staff of the school? Thinking about exactly that. If something typically takes 2 weeks or so to get, taken care of or completed, what are some ways that you can communicate those deadlines effectively? What are some, like you
Lie
said,
about
Maria,
the deadlines. They are 2 weeks before the actual deadline.
I also, anytime I need those teacher surveys at the end of the year, I'm like, our school's going to be evaluated on this. We're going to look at these. I need you to fill these out for the student. This is a federal grant. This gets submitted to, whatever, just to put more importance on it, because I can't force a teacher to do a survey on a student. I need them to be intrinsically motivated to do it. And so I always throw that stuff in there.
I'm with her. I always say, look, if you want to be paid, if you continue want to be employed, if you continue want to have this cool job, this is all based on this.
Cool job. I love it.
You know, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, these are deliverables that you request us, and these are deliverables that we request them. Everybody has to be responsible and accountable for all of that. You hold us accountable, we have to hold them accountable as well. So yeah, just saying, look, if you continue on to do employment, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have to submit lesson plans to our principal. If not, you're gonna get those hands and feel that smoke.
I hope. Eva's coming through.
No, that's just real.
Going on vacation.
And there's an admin. And there's an admin on here too, a principal too. You know, when you set deadlines for your teachers, if we don't comply with that, you know, you want to be on the phone like, where's your lesson plans? Where is this going on? So we still have to hold our teachers accountable. So sometimes we have to speak that verbiage, or if not, call them at 11 o'clock at night and tell the principal, look, your teacher did not get this information to me, and it's saying it's not going to cut us our check. They're going to cut our funding program. Get that rolling. I bet you have your deliverables now, won't you?
Oh my, this is getting spicy.
I try to.
Next PD is gonna be Eva's boot camp.
No. Let's see, I have them problems. It's just straight and cut to the point. DP don't play.
I mean, I think
don't play either.
Removing as many barriers as possible. Right. If it's like there's a teacher who isn't in the program and I still need them to get me data, I'm like, here's the iPad, fill it out right now. I know you have 5 minutes. Let's go. This is really helpful. You know, you need a donut, I'll get you a donut. Let's get this done. But yeah, spending all that time building the relationship so that when you ask them to do something that's like boring or trivial in their mind, it's like, let's get it done. That way you don't have to come with the smoke. I don't want any smoke. I don't want none of that in my school.
And that's what I was saying earlier, is that, you know, the importance, communication is important, because the more consistent and the better the rapport is built, the more likely people are to come back and respond to you with the requests that you make, with the suggestions that you have, with meeting deadlines and timeframes, and using those tools that we talked about, you know, developing a calendar. Something as simple as people forget deadlines. You know, if I did not use technology, I would miss almost every single meeting. And I'm just being honest with myself. I put the reminders on my Outlook. I get phone notifications 15 minutes before the meetings start, or any events that I have, or due dates for anything I have. And, you know, we have task managers and task planners that alert me through email of something that I have to do for the week. These are things that you can develop within your school that you share amongst everybody so that they stay on task. Because it isn't always personal. It is that, like someone else said earlier, and also said in the group that I was in, is that people wear a lot of hats. They get busy. There's a bunch of stuff going on. They've got 10 things to do, same thing as you've got 15 to 20 things to do. So sometimes people just forget. But if you've got a reminder, if you've got a tool, a calendar built out that says, here are all of the deadlines that I have coming up for everything that I need for my program, and that's shared with everybody, and it's reminded to them in a team meeting, in a staff meeting, during your consistent communication, they may not be on top of it right away, but down the road, eventually, because it's the same consistent message, they're going to get on task just by nature of hearing it all the time. They'll be familiar with the due dates, the time frames, the notes. They'll be familiar with your calendar that you share with them every quarter or semester, and they'll right the ship. You know, the more consistent you are, the calmer the waves, the easier the boat sails.
Corey, I love how you put that, and I wish people would actually buy that, but everybody don't work like we do. And
they do not.
Yeah, we do.
But that's where the
we set expectations, and that's true. And everybody can't be a Virgo like me and Karina, because everybody can be a Virgo. Virgos are very strategic. We put stuff in order, but everybody's not a planner like we are.
I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm a Gemini, so that's right out the window.
Well, Corey, I know it's 2 dates that you do not forget. You don't forget your wife's birthday, and you do not forget her anniversary.
No, absolutely not.
Of course. And again, people remember, and we understand life happens, and we get it, and we have to be understanding and flexible, because you all are very flexible with us, and we appreciate that. speaking, as one. And we understand that when you all put demands and deliverables on us, everybody has to be accountable for that. But thank you, Corey.
Absolutely. So what I want you guys to really start to think about moving forward is what are some tools you think will help you communicate those deadlines effectively? If you need to drill down or flat out lie, I think somebody had mentioned earlier, but start to think about the tools, the effective ways to communicate. It may also take just learning the person and what kind of communication they respond to the best. So learning about the staff that you work with, talking to them, Sadiqa gave a good example of that is, learning about the person themselves so the most effective way to communicate with them.
One effective way that I use, because everybody don't check emails, is text messages.
Yes.
Everybody takes their text message. So I text message my team. Reminders. I text message them a beautiful quote and a reminder in the morning. When you all send those Wednesday reminders out about payroll, I send a very sweet text. And I do my own reminders because I have my own deadlines. And so, yeah, I send out text messages because everybody don't read emails and everybody don't read work emails. This is my co-presenter today, too. This is my nephew. Everyone say hi, Mark. Say hi to my team, Mark.
They better read my email. That's pretty good.
They're going to catch that smoke.
Exactly. So I do want to thank you guys very much for joining my training. I hope you guys got a chance to take a lot away from it. Communication is key. I mean, we say that in our own personal relationships, but professionally, it holds the same water as well. We want to make sure that we share everybody the expectations that we have placed on us so that they can help us reach the goals that we have of running our smooth programs for these students. At the end of the day, we want to do the best for the students that we work with. And again, I do appreciate all the work that you guys do with the students that we work with on a day-to-day basis. I also want to say thank you for coming to my training, listening with me for a little bit today, and then also working with each other. If you have any questions, please let us know. We will send a follow-up email regarding the training today. We'll have the recording in it for those of you that had another staff member that weren't able to make it. You could share this recording with them. Maybe even sit down with them and go over the resource map together. Kind of talk to them about, hey, did you know you can turn to X, Y, and Z to get this if I ask you for something? And then that way, they'll be a little bit more at ease on who to turn to and who to talk to. So again, thanks very much, guys, and we will see you on the data training coming up very soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Hope all the vacation people have a good vacation.
I know, right?
Good job, Corey.
Stay safe. Don't get the Delta.
Oh.
Jeez. No.
Oh boy. What an end. What an end.
Delta variant in my training.
Thank you, Wadafu. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Even though I'm vaccinated, yes, thank you. Thank you. I will not. Thank you, Corey. Great job. Thank you. I look forward to talking to you all. You all have a great evening.
I appreciate you.
Good job,
All right.
Corey.